Do you like living in London?
No, there's 8 billion people in this world. Why am I limiting my creativity and my work and my hustle and my energy to just this great nation we have?
What's your overall attitude towards property as a whole?
Buying nice houses is great. I got friends who are like, they're trapped. They literally can't leave London.
One thing I wanted to touch on is obviously your ability to build all of these different strategic relationships with corporates. Yeah. And I think it's something that people often really struggle with. For people that are like trying to build working relationships, what hints and tips do you have for them?
Well, there's a few.
Welcome back to another episode of the PBK podcast. Each and every week, we bring you a fantastic guest where we can talk all things property, business, and everything in between. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Bejay. How you doing?
Doing good, broski.
Do you know what's mad? Like when I was thinking about your introduction and when I was talking to you, I said, at your age, you've done so much stuff. Like, you're 27 now?
29 now.
29 now?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
30 next year.
So you've really been almost 15 years into entrepreneurship and doing business. Over that time, you've helped over 50,000 people, like helped to curate their journey within business. You've won numerous awards and you've like sit on boards of different companies and do so many different things. But for you personally, if you was to intro yourself right now, what would you say you do?
I've been saying I've been easing myself back in because I'm always coming on and offline. And when I had dinner with you recently, I was just like, I don't know about the internet, but you know, as Haley said, Melinda said, you're too broke to not be visible, you know, and unless you're like in the 9-figure rooms, like for me, we still got more work to do, right? So right now I'd introduce myself as a serial entrepreneur. Someone who's built many businesses, and my current live businesses are Season Club, which is a wellness membership enabling people to have access to top tier experiences, and Block Media, which is my media network brokering deals for talent and community owners.
That's amazing. And that's why, although we are a very property centric podcast, we get people on from different spheres of the business space. Because something you said really on, I get so many people reach out to me and be like, I don't know how you do the social media stuff, you know, it's long. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know it's long, but also exactly what you just said. I don't have enough money or the luxury to be like, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's thinking, oh, I'm not sure, just check your bank and your bank will let you know whether or not you still need to be telling people what you want to do and what you can offer them. You've got some amazing businesses. We've spoken about how we're potentially going to collaborate with some of your existing businesses, but for people, like I know your story very well, but a lot of people don't. And an introduction to Bejay at 14, 15, because your story started really early on. What were you doing that sort of allowed you to be one of the youngest recipients of like some great awards in the UK?
Yeah. Like, look, we're children of grime and hip hop, right? If we're in the States, children of hip hop. But growing up, you know, you're listening to Get Rich Die Trying, you're listening to Jay-Z, Tupac, DMX, you're seeing people do crazy things in their 20s. You're just even on culture, like there is Richard Branson building Virgin at 16 years old. You've got Tim Campbell winning The Apprentice, a black man winning a major TV show.
Big up Tim Campbell, by the way.
You know what I'm saying?
Big up Tim Campbell. That's why I'm still training for the judo for when I can get it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
My guy.
But, yeah, Tim Campbell winning The Apprentice with Alan Sugar. Then you got Alan Sugar's story. So there's so many people that we've been blessed to see versus what our parents got to see as people that come from the diaspora and from different places. And I'm from Congo. So for me, at 10 years old, YouTube was already there, bro. So you can sit down and you can be on MSN, you can be on Bebo, you can be on whatever. But I'm watching these documentaries and I'm like, yo, how do I get a piece of the pie? But we can't start a lemonade stand in the UK. We really can't literally build our own businesses easily because you need a bank account at 18, not really at 14 or 13. So I was always just like looking at things I could do and tried to rap, couldn't rap, tried to sing, couldn't sing.
No, we're going to have to go and find. I know there's some old YouTube archives of you trying to rap. I'm going to find them.
Did acting, I was all right at that. And I started doing theatre shows. So I was like, you know what? Me, people in my youth club, let's do a talent show. And there was an opportunity for me and my friend Christian to run our own. and we literally started it just down the road from where we're shooting here in Brick Lane, a place called ATM Arts, and they supported people in their creative endeavors. The first talent show I did, Kazy Radical performed. He was a dancer. Now he's, Mobos, and he's smashed it in life. I've like done talent shows. Little Sims has been performing. So a lot of these creatives that have come out of East and kind of like North Central, so Angel and Hoxton kind of bits, we all used to bump into each other at different moments in our career. And I felt like the late 2008, 2009, early 2010, there was just a lot of opportunity if you were from Tower Hamlets, Hackney, to better your life. And I literally took every opportunity I could. So me as a 12, 13-year-old was doing talent shows 3 times a year. And I was like, this is dope, but it's not money every day. Then I was going down and interning at a magazine, which was owned by an ad agency called Liberty. So I was going to Brixton in my school uniform, selling adverts on the phone to people, and then going to gigs and then being able to review it. So I've got pictures of me at 15 with Professor Green and Tiny Temper and Ellie Goulding at festivals. I'd go intern at Community Music, who did stages at Underage Festival and Lovebox. So I spent a lot of my free time not watching movies. So I'm someone who doesn't really know many movie references. And through doing all these things, I then stumbled on the idea of like building my own shop. Cause like I want to make money every day. Like all of this stuff is sick, but you're being a creative and you're not really being paid. But I was like, I want to get paid. And I was like, that lemonade stand concept in America, I was just trying to figure out how to do it in the UK. Come from not a well-known estate, but I'm just from an estate in Aldgate, Brick Lane area. And we don't really have back-to-back big houses where you can just set up your stall outside your yard. You just get aired. And I didn't have the guts to do it. I should have done it and just had a picture of it, but I didn't do it. But I set up my school's first tuck shop. So shop in the school playground. There wasn't one before. Everyone used to like sell their backpacks and get confiscated. I managed to convince the head teacher and the heads of years that there should be a school shop. It would take away the black market. It would enable us me and the business students, to learn about business more practically. And we were making £100 a day, made 15 grand at 14. And that just changed my mindset completely. I was like, whoa, like, people need the snacks, people need the food, and this is a good way to kind of practically learn about business. So then my idea, because I was reading a lot of like books that were all around scaling, so Rich Dad Poor Dad and building assets. So I was just like, like, imagine if I could franchise this. So I started franchising the shops in other schools. So between 14 to 18, open 100 shops, train 5,000 kids. At 18, when I left college, decided to not go to uni and just focus on that full time. And then we pivoted and we moved into doing stuff in the community. So 2014, 2015, it was very early pop-up shop era. Now people got pop-up shops and it's normal, but then it was like a very new concept, taking over disused stores for a short period of time. And I managed to get River Island, Barclays, Pepsi Max, EE, Essentia, when I was 19 as my corporate partners, to open up shops. So we had shops in Brixton, Old Street, Box Park. We did market stalls. And then I built the UK's first pop-up market run by teens. So I went on national news. I went to Conservative Party conference because they were the leadership at the time in the country, and announced that I was going to do this thing, scale up the tuck shop into a department store, a pop-up market. And adverts, buses, and that was like my big part of my journey. And that business was called Super Tuck. And then we evolved into Supermarket and Super Academy. And it was a blessing. Like at 13, 14, I was like anyone who's trying to start a new business, like just figuring out, writing business plans, cash flow forecasts, spending time researching how to print and it doesn't work, how to do this doesn't work. But as soon as like I started figuring out like cash flow and making that stick and growing that, then life changed. And it still came with its challenges, like dealing with wholesalers, creating a training program. So a lot of my success has definitely come through good mentorship, good coaching. I'm a big fan of coaches. Do
you think it was the coaching that made you just keep pushing? Because I can imagine that me at 13 and I start making £100. I'm saying I've made it. Like I'm saying, I'm Argos catalog, I'm buying everything I want. and then to then go and scale and start to work with big brands, or even before you started that, the fact that you were already interning and getting to go and meet all of these celebrities at so many points, I think a lot of people would have felt like, this is me, I've made it already. What pushed you to keep going and saying, I want to do more?
I think content, in hindsight, has been the biggest breakdown of barriers of entry for everyone in the world. And for me personally, I've just ran with it. So as I mentioned earlier, like YouTube as a platform and blogs, like my Come Up back in the day, they would post stories every day of people just killing it. Like from nothing to something, rags to riches. Peter Jones from the Dragon's Den losing it all, making it back. Simon Cowell losing it all, making it back. I was watching this kind of content every day, and it just made the back of my mind know that there was more. So even if, you know, we're making 100 quid a day, I'm like, yo, how do we make 100 grand a month? How do we make 5 million a month? Like, you start learning about tech, you start learning about investments, you start learning about so many different industries, and then it was just a waiting game. Like, when am I going to be old enough to be able to apply for this scheme, or when am I going to be able to learn the skill to do this? So yeah, like I treat entrepreneurship like a sport.
You just have to keep striving to be
keep
the best.
keep striving, keep creating, keep finding lanes for yourself. And then over time you learn, you got to focus. So there's like a big dream book I've got, which there's things I haven't done yet. Like I want to have farms, I want to have resorts, I want to create even more festivals. But it's just timing, sequences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. And when you had, like, with the Tuck Shop and you've expanding, and there was a point you had the warehouse, and how many people you were employing at that point?
So a Tuck Shop, we employed 10 people. Quite easy network to run because you're just going into activating post school. Doing about 200K at peak year, which was nice. 18, that's kind of a good business to be running. The pop-up market warehouse project, 60 people at peak when we were like pushing through and like doing the big activations. A lot of pressure. My business partner at the time, so that was the first time I had a business partner properly. He was 9 years older than me, and he'd come out of working at SBTV, so there was a couple of experiences we could share and pick up from each other. So that helped. I always feel like success has many fathers. And then I went on a couple of accelerators, so programs where you can just learn on the go. So I went on one with Bethnal Green Ventures. I went on another one with True. So you're just around other entrepreneurs who are building and going through the strides, and you're able to compare notes on, yo, here's my legal firm I use. Yo, here's a good HR platform. So that's definitely helped as well with like having a balance of fixed term staff and like flexi staff.
No, definitely. I think like when people look at operating in any business space, you know, having a network of people that have been there and have done it before, and can also say, oh, by the way, these people are actually really good.
Yeah.
It just stops you having to, the old adage of like having to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the princess. You can be like, look, if someone says, look, this guy's the truth when it comes to security, if you're setting up a venue, you know, that's who I can go to. I haven't got to deal with that, and I feel very safe going forward. See, being that we are like a property-based platform, and you touched on obviously having your commercial space, with that space, what's your attitude towards ownership? Like, do you look at things like to say, okay, you know, we're leasing this space now, happy to have this outgoing, or did you ever start to think, I wanna own more at that point in time?
I think the opportunity to scale fast within London and scale fast in other regions of the world and in the UK, I felt like property would have like held us down. Hindsight is always funny. Like, you know, people had ideas to do the Deliveroo. They'll sell you, or to create Airbnb, but they didn't. So now we've got Rip the Runway, permanent store, where, you know, black businesses can come and put their products in. You've got Black Eats, marketplace. People come and, you know, get food regularly. But then they start and stop. You've had loads of different businesses that have been started. And I think for me, at the time, I could only move with the information I had. And franchising was like the favorite approach that I saw from everything I'd seen and read and understood. I felt like it going into different territories on a short-term let felt like a surefire way to keep increasing the cash you got available to you, and to just have more stacks of like experiences that you can talk about. Having a permanent shore, if it doesn't go well, it could really close your business down. Whereas being able to move around has meant that we've been able to do consultancy projects, we've been able to take on clients, we've been able to just adapt with the times. So we moved from pop-ups into like working with influencers and then doing training programs. Like you're able to adapt with the times.
It allowed you to be that bit more agile.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because we have this conversation around a lot of people now, particularly more so with Gen Zs as well.
Yeah.
That don't necessarily have the old adage of, I have to own where I live. They like the idea of, well, if I can have an Uber and I can choose to just have a driver when I want, why would I own a car? And in the same breath, when it comes to like renting property, look, I might want a 2-bed flat now, and I might want a 5-bed detached house in a year's time. And I don't want to deal with the whole transactional of assets that are not as liquid, as other things. I'd like the flexibility.
Yeah.
What's your kind of overall attitude towards property as a whole? Now imagine this. You've just completed on a fantastic property. The renovation plans are buzzing in your head, but then the reality hits. Endless paperwork, slow bank transfers, and confusing accounting. That's where Tide changes the game. It's more than just a bank account, it's your all-in-one business toolkit. You can incorporate your company with ease, send invoices and get paid instantly, and track expenses effortlessly, further allowing you to save for your next big project with competitive interest rates. Tide takes the stress out of managing your finances so you can focus on what you do best, building a successful property portfolio. Which is why you should download the Tide app today and open a free business current account with the link in my description. Use the discount code PROPERTYBYKAZY50 and you'll receive £50 cash back when you spend £100 on your new Tide card. That's PROPERTYBYKAZY50 and you'll receive £50 cash back when you spend £100 on your new Tide card. Now back to the video. Was it something that you think about, or are you so locked in on business that it's just like at the back of your mind?
I'm locked in on business, bro. Like I feel like there's opportunities I missed 10 years ago. And I don't live in regret. I'm just like, I wish I bought them stores. I wish I did, but you just got to adapt to the times. And the opportunities I see in property for myself right now are abroad. So I do a lot of stuff in Cannes. I'm always renting out. I'm bringing loads of people out. Can a couple of us come together and actually own a couple of the spots?
What are you doing? Because I seen you in Cannes. I seen you in Cannes, big networking. What is it? What's it called?
So Cannes Lions, big week where all the biggest media, advertising executives, top creators and film stars come down. We have back-to-back days of talks and conferences happening at the same time across multiple venues. I'm talking all of the beach huts are converted into immersive spaces by Google, by Pinterest, Spotify, evening performances from A$AP Rocky, Rihanna, Foo Fighters. Then you've got like all of these hotels that on the rooftop, you've now got like lectures happening. So LinkedIn take over and spend X milli on renting out the top floor. Different people are being flown in from around the world, like Halle Berry, Kevin Hart. And you're just at the proximity of like top executives from UK, Europe, America, and Africa. So I've been going for 4 years, and I now throw my own summit called Block Brunch. I do it in collaboration with other partners. Last year we did it on a yacht. This year we did it on a beach. Did it with WPP, who are like one of the biggest advertisers in the world, if not the biggest. They spend $6 billion a year, and we literally, bring together a bunch of different people. So this year there was 150 business owners that flew out with me, and everyone was making these Airbnb guys richer, which was great. But there's like a lot of concierge needs that people have, like, oh, where should I stay? What should I eat? What should I bring? Da. So I feel like business will always show you the problems that you need to solve. So for me, property would probably be regions like that where I know there's damage I can do and value I can add. And then I think, especially with the wellness club I'm building now with Season, there is an opportunity for us to enable people to eat more organic, to train better, and to like really reform and rechange their life. So I'm looking for facilities where I could potentially build a state-of-the-art training, eating, and kind of mindset gym for people. You come in, you do a 7-day resort trip, stay there, or 8-day retreat, and you work with nutritionist, dietitian, a physical coach, and then you do some mindset goal planning. And I think those will probably be Caribbean or Africa, but I would love to get something in Europe. So property wise, I'm looking at commercial property like that.
Like, yeah, a facilitation for your businesses that you're already looking to grow and scale.
Yeah, I think those are the plays, for sure. I'm more into those things. Like buying nice houses is great, but I got friends who are like they're trapped. They literally can't leave London because mortgage or tenants.
So you like the idea of the flexibility side of things. One thing I wanted to touch on is obviously your ability to build all of these different strategic relationships with corporates. Yeah. And I think it's something that people often really struggle with. For people that are like trying to build working relationships, what hints and tips do you have for them?
Whew. Well, there's a few. Like, so look, working in corporates is it's a skill that people get mainly from being in corporate, and then also from just creating something valuable that the corporates want to put their name attached to. So an award show, a conference, a summit, something, a finals of a game. Ultimately, a corporate will put money because of the eyeballs or the association that might come from working with you guys. And last 15 years, I've worked with a lot of FTSE 250 businesses, from Amazon to Meta, Facebook, Google, Apple, like tons. I gave speeches at Dr. Martens, so it's not been small at all. But it's not been something that's just like click of fingers because mum, dad didn't give me these relationships. We literally built everything from scratch. Any relationship I've built has been from pouring into others, showing up. There's just like you'll get street creds in the streets for being on road, there's also street creds from being in the industry. So spending time going to the drum, going to campaign, that's for if you're in the media world. If you're in the sports world, there's again events over there that you should be heading to. If you're in the music world, there's GRM Gala, but actually there's Music Week events. In your industry, there will be industry events that you just need to make effort going to. At the start, you may need to sow a seed, a leap of faith, buy a ticket. If you can't buy a ticket, my route in has been doing media. Tell stories. What you're doing right now. For you doing this podcast, you're opening up your black book way faster and way further than you ever could imagine. And even if you don't realize it now, I know 5 years from now, we're going to be having that reasoning. You're going to be like, you know what? There's certain people I would have never spoken to or connected in the way I connected with them if I didn't have the platform. Like this platform is, it's not even just about trying to get a TV deal or a Netflix deal. It's actually about the deepening of relationships. So I thought, and I've always been a believer, and now I'm looking back at my career, media has been something that has like stuck with me alongside any business I've moved into. So whether I've been in food, whether I've gone into education, whether I've done stuff in retail, whether I've done stuff in marketing, the media aspect of the businesses have always been key. So the story I told you earlier, because I was interviewing stars, like Professor Green and Italian Temper, schools will come and book me to come and give an inspiring talk on how to be a young person. And then I'll close them on my tuck shop. Now I'm creating content and I'm helping people learn how to like invest their business and actually build their business, scale their business. So it means that when people have partnership opportunities, they're like, oh, can I partner with you? When I move in the wellness space, I'm now going to start telling stories of people who are killing it in the wellness space. Like figuring out how you use media for your business is one of the best life hacks, because a lot of times media passes are free. But the ticket to sit on the table costs money. But if you're going to come and promote my event and put it on the news, whether it's local news, that has value because that has a view. So I'd recommend people, if you've got no contacts, that you're struggling to break into property, you're struggling to break into retail, break into whatever industry, look at how you can become a storyteller. whether it's with your IG, whether it's you being a journalist for City AM. Don't go for Metro, go for City AM. Go for, a more independent platform where they might not pay you for your work like a bigger platform, but you'll get that pass. And that pass is the golden ticket, in my opinion.
I think that's great advice. With you doing so
Second
many
part, nurture.
Yeah.
So go meet people. So get yourself access to go meet people. But the second bit is nurture your relationships. So don't just be transactional. So remember names or remember interesting things about people. Keep an Apple note or a to-do list note of interesting facts you met about people that you really want to follow up with, rather than just, I'll follow on the gram. And I always do this thing where I just email people on the spot.
Yeah.
If it's something I'm really going to move on, and CC my team. And if you don't have a team, make a team email that allows you to not just have your inbox, but an inbox for important things that you've emailed, so that you can separate out or have a partnership at your brand. And it means on a Sunday, you sit down and you can do a review, right? Who did we meet interesting this week? And that habit, stacking over 52 times in a year, will mean that you're going from here to here.
Yeah, no, that's amazing advice. And I'm saying that's amazing advice for me, because you already know we have these conversations where I'll be like, I'm in the room and I'll be tapping you like, use that again. I met them like 5 times. I can't ask them again who they are, but I know I need to speak to them. So I think that's really good advice. And I say this to say that, the reason why I get people like yourself on, and people like Amber, and people that are really inspiring, is because it's great for us to be in this property bubble and to look at it like, I'm a property developer, and that sounds amazing, but we're really just business people. And business, you need to be able to take inspiration from so many different success stories to really make sure that you can get to those heights that you want to reach. With you doing so many different things, I know you said media is your passion. That's probably why you've kind of transitioned full circle and gone back into it. But how do you stay organized and focused?
Bro, that one right there is the dilemma that every high performer is trying to figure out. You have it cracked and then you take on more and then you have to cook it out again. So I think there's some fundamentals that we can all just live by. I learned a process from the team at Google, which is called OKRs, which it means, outlining your 3 to 5 objectives that are going to literally impact your business. A lot of times, 20% of your work creates 80% of your revenue. You want to try to create 80% of your work to create 80% of your revenue. But obviously 20 given 80 is not a bad, it's not a bad shout. You just focus, lean in on that thing. So by having OKRs, so it stands for objective, key, result. By you picking 3 to 5 key objectives, it means you can just start saying no to crap. Just focus on those objectives. And then under objectives, there will be key results that will make you hit that objective. So one objective of, the PBK podcast and Property by Kazy brand might be to increase our network of property developers by 10x in the next year. That's a very specific goal. We know where we are now, and the number will be showing to us like what we need to be in a year's time. So the key results for me to actually move that forward will mean the sign-ups are increasing, the amount of hits are going up, and then your tasks will inform the things that you're going after, rather than just being blank slate every day. Like actually reverse engineering where you want to be in a year, and letting that inform what you do in a quarter, and then that inform what you're doing this month, and then that inform what you're doing this week. So right now in this November, we're filming, and my team were planning 2025. We're literally looking at all the quarters. Where do we want to be in a year?
I think you see that from a lot of high performers. I think if people who watch recent interviews with Dean Forbes, you'll see the same. He's saying beginning of the year, we're already planning for every quarter of the specific milestones, and it creates work with purpose.
That's it.
As opposed work to just stay busy. Because I think as the more work you do, the more you realize there's no such thing as inbox zero. There's it's the biggest myth that I'm just going to get all my work done. Yeah. It's never going to be done. As soon as you send an email, you're going to get 5 back.
That's it. So you need to be laser focused on things that move the needle for you. Otherwise, every day people are just going to pull you with their objective.
What does your 2025 look like?
2025 looks like block media opening up in more cities. So currently we're in Cannes, London. Done a couple bits in Amsterdam with Money 2020, but we're going to go out and do more work in New York and Dubai. The creators and the new media owners that we represent and work with, both exclusively and not exclusively, just helping them go to more heights. So one of our creators sold out 800-person show 2 weeks ago. They're going to South Africa in the new year, so I'm helping them put partnerships in place for that. And then the other side is that I'm really passionate about enabling people to feel less lonely and people to connect. I've lost a lot of people in the last year and last couple of years, to be honest with you. And I think I want to find more places where men can talk. I want to enable people to find and have access to the specialists that have helped me. Because every time I talk to a leader or an entrepreneur, we've all got a lot of things happening behind these glass windows that we put up, you know what I'm saying? So what's our access to people that deal with insomnia? What's the access to people that deal with sleep, stress, grief? If you're not on point with your food, like how can you get access to a dietitian without paying crazy fees? So with Season Club, one of the big goals next year is to see, you know, how many thousands of members can we put on our membership and support and track. So we're able to go, you know what, through them having a yearly membership with us, they've been able to access these things and they've moved their life like that. And then hopefully we'll be in a place in a year's time where we're looking at a permanent home somewhere in the world. We've decided to reverse engineering it rather than building the state-of-the-art environment physically. We want to build it virtually and then have partnerships with venues around the world. So yeah, man, we're going really fast, man. Like we did a really awesome hike the other day with 300 people, and we're going to be doing a reasoning with 100 black men in coming weeks. So I'm just finding new ways to connect people, and a year from now, I want to say that, yo, like 10,000 people have come through IRL outside of anything we've done online.
Do you feel like the connection is like your purpose, like as a connector?
Has to be, bro. Has to be. That's been the secret sauce, along with the media, like connecting and being able to like follow up and see, yo, we met that person and this is where they're at now. So if I can take that to new ponds around the world, that I know will change not just my life, but a lot of people's lives as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. And with obviously the media side of things, what you mentioned, obviously somebody selling out like their shows. What type of people are you actually working with at the moment?
Yeah, so with Block Media, we both non-exclusively and exclusively work with a lot of different creators and a lot of your favorite pages. So we work with Two My Sisters, really big global sisterhood community, over 7 million downloads in their podcasts, over 100,000 women in their network. They just sold out Shoreditch Town Hall. Last year they did Hackney Empire with no big brand sponsors, just their community buying tickets. And we've been working with them since they started. So big fans of Renee and Courtney behind that. Work with Amma from Plant Made. Everything from her collaboration with Gymshark last month to behind the scenes, you know, community strategy, and now looking at courses and products we'll come up with next year. And then we also work with people's favorite pages. We have a really good relationship with Your Positive News. We work with Made You Think. We work with PBK Group, Word on the Curb. And I think because I grew up in the media and I've done stuff on BBC and I've worked with Financial Times and Bloomberg, and I've also got a lot of creator friends, I find that me and my team are a really good bridge between people who are growing massive digital real estate and those that have traditional media. So we use Block Brunch and our Blocks to Bag community to get people to come together and broker deals. So trying to just build my own brokerage firm, bro. Like we have our own Rock Nation in the UK now. Like why not? Like let's broker these deals. Let's get athletes, creators, the right type of partnership. And there's some really good talent managers out there. So we don't really see ourselves as a talent agency. It really is about media brokerage. So creating new IP, creating merch, really doing some really great advisory work. So even if you own your own camp, like you can hire my firm, my experts. I've got people in my network who are heads of retail for really big brands, people that work in investment houses, angel investors. So you send us the challenge and the brief, and if it fits within the boxes that we cover, we can help you.
Sounds good. The amount of information I feel like you can retain, like have you always been this good at just like being able to recount and retain this level of information?
I think there's an app that I'd like to play with, which I recommend everyone use. It's called Luminosity. Because we're spending a lot of our time on our screens and just growing in society, is not a lot of us don't do brain training. We've got to bring puzzles back, and Luminosity is like the digital version of crosswords. So there's loads of different type of puzzles you can play in the morning or any time in the day that just keep your mind sharp.
I use one called Impulse.
Perfect.
So Impulse is very similar. So they have like your daily goals of like doing certain things, and there's loads of little, like you said, games, whether it be crosswords or just being able to just, like my favorite one and the one that I play all the time is it's like it's like basically like pairs. You just got to find the pair.
The right pair.
When you're looking at it, you need that level of focus. So I guess that helps obviously keep those brain skills that maybe get dulled through just constantly too much screen time.
Yeah, so big fan of brain training. A big fan of journaling. I'm a big fan of Sabbath. I'm not Jewish, but I'm Christian. And for me, having one day in a week where you no tech, you don't really make big commitments. It's just about seeing friends, having dinner, going to the house of the Lord, just resetting yourself and ending it with a nice like steam sauna or cold plunge. And it just means that you've reflected, you've kept your mind sharp, and then you're also like just doing that time with yourself. A lot of people don't know themselves. They're scared to spend time by themselves. I'm around a lot of people during the week, so I need to make sure there's like real time to recharge and recenter. But that journaling bit, I've been journaling every day for more than 5 years now, and for me, journaling is a great way to reflect on the day and also to set intention for the day ahead or the week ahead. And through that, I'm like re-encountering what's happened. So you're going to be part of the journal today or this weekend, you know, this moment. Well, like, what the key thing I took from this conversation, or what's something interesting that I think actually I might just send your way in a year or two's time. And over time, you're just building this diary, right, of thoughts and perspective and lessons. And there's another way, like what's written down is remembered.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. And again, I'm repeating the same thing I said, but just the reason why we have people that are not fully property focused on the pod is so much of that information is so relatable and translatable to people that want to be a full-time property investor. And I think also the fact that you're in the media space, people need a personal brand. And I think a question that I was asked recently that I couldn't answer, but hopefully you'll be able to shed some light on, is a lot of people struggle to identify what their personal brand is, how they set themselves apart, how they build their brand identity. Have you got any hints and tips for people that are kind of struggling with that?
I think it's a Japanese lesson that people learn called ikagi. So figuring out your why, you know, how you exist in the world, your zone of genius, the purpose you have. I think that's important. Otherwise, you're just going to be chasing clout. And there's no substance in that long term. You can go viral for sure, but are you really going to have the impact that one needs to have for the work you're putting in? So figure out who you want to be and why you want to be that. Because even when it's raining, you're still going to go and pursue that journey. So start there. Map out the top leaders in your field and the stories you found most relevant that's been written about them or they've been covered, and follow those platforms. But also decode why you found that breakdown of the story interesting. You're going to learn what makes a good story, and you actually will see how they're telling their story, see what's working for them, what's viral. There's a thing called Viral Finder, which shows you what's going viral, and you can type your industry. So there are tools that are free that you can use. There's loads of like asking tools like Ask Jeeves and Ask the People, which again, you can just do a sentimental search rather than just a random search, but it's called sentimental search. That enables you to kind of like see what people are really looking for. So put that in your category A. In category B, start to follow and engage with top journalists and content creators who are telling stories of people like you in the industry, of who you want, like you want to be in the industry in a couple of years. So if you're in sports, who are the top writers in sports? If you're in wellness, top writers in wellness. If you're in music, top writers in music. Just be part of the journey. Like a lot of times, if you look at people's comments, even people like 200K, 300K, it's not like 1,000 comments, you know? But you now being targeted and going, right, there's these 30 people I've identified that I'm going to be following to see like what they announce, what they post, going to visit them, talk. You're now in the room. Like you're now someone over 6 months who's added value. You're writing a proper comment like, oh, this has been interesting because of X, Y, Z. So I think for me, doing that and doing the research bit and being patient, doesn't have to be happening tomorrow, but just be patient. Like give yourself a year. Like you're gonna go leaps and bounds. And by you taking steps every day and posting and putting stuff up, I'm not advising people on their cadence, but you showing up. For me, like you look back and you be like, right, I'm now someone in this industry.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think identifying who you are along with consistency and understanding that it's not going to happen overnight. Do you like living in London?
No.
Where do you live now? Do you live outside of London?
I mix it up. I do London most of the time, but I'll go where the work is. So the last 4 days I've been in Paris. I'm going to Morocco in a couple of weeks. I was in Greece last month. So when I can, and there's not lots of family stuff going on, I'm really big right now on just making sure I'm not a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
We're an island, 60 million people. There's 8 billion people in this world. Why am I limiting my creativity and my work and my hustle and my energy to just this great nation we have? It's great. It's amazing. It's led me to have this great career. But now it's about leveling up. Like there are opportunities for you, even if you're successful or not successful, in so many parts of the world. So right now I'm on a journey of like building bridges with people in different regions. So when I'm in Paris, I'm visiting bakery and gym houses. I'm meeting people who run businesses. When I go Cannes, I'm building out there. Like I mentioned, I'm interested in like really doubling down on Dubai and New York next year. Running away from those cities for a while, but I'm like, you know what? Let's go to hubs where people are doing big business. Like, put me in the field. I want to see where I stack up. Like, let's go.
Yeah, no, I get that. For someone who's traveled a lot, in terms of the work and entrepreneurship culture, where have you found that you've enjoyed the most?
I think it changed depending on the business I've been in.
Yeah.
When I was in advertising with my influencer business, I found New York to be super sick, super dope. And London's great for influencer marketing. The deals you can do. I know they'll talk about LA and America, but we've got our own scene here, which is quite cool. Like the Sidemen are from here, Chunks is from here. Like, you know, there's opportunities to change your life and to live a full life from here. And there's hella creators who don't look like us that you don't know that are also killing it. So I know like white creators who've like got books that they just talk about and they've got 700,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Selling out shows as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
so that's the beauty of influencer marketing. So I think London, New York and LA for influencer world, for the music world, the best way for entrepreneurship for me has been right now it's the bubbling cities that Boiler Room are covering and others are covering. So it's your Berlin, it's your Amsterdam, it's your Barcelona, there's Lisbon. There's a reason that Afro Nation's there. Like there's growth happening in those areas. And South Africa, like you can't not mention them at the moment. And obviously Atlanta and Miami and places like that. I think wellness for me, Scandinavian countries, like they've always had it on lock, but we've now got the development of access across different parts of the world. So holistic health and like people healing themselves is on the rise. So I'm interested in like seeing what entrepreneurship in Cuba and Costa Rica looks like. So for me, I can't say a blanket spot for entrepreneurship because it's like very contextual to the industry.
No, definitely. Property related question. If, of all those cities, I know you said you're not that fussed about ownership, but if you were to own a place,
we're getting in it. We're getting in it. Let's go.
If you were to own your own place in 3 places in the world.
For me, 3 places in the world, I'd say Kenya. As just like access to Congo motherland for me, which obviously will have a bigger spot there as well. But for me, Kenya is, you get access to Africa from there. And there's like some beautiful, beautiful places over there to live out of. It'll be out of Kenya and Zanzibar. And then I would be looking at Cannes, south of France, like Monaco, Antibes, because I've got invested projects there, so it makes a lot of sense for me. And then, you know what, I'm a big fan of the countryside here, man. Like, you know, you're not, David Beckham's got a spot next to a farmhouse in Oxford.
You're trying to join Fecky, little farm.
Yeah, why not? Why not? It makes a lot of sense. good British farming. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying?
Good to see. No, we really appreciate having you on today. I definitely think you've dropped a lot of gems, a lot of value. If people want to connect with you and want to get in touch with you, how can they reach out?
So look, if you want to improve your life on a wellness tip, you want to meet new people, you want to level up and get access to coaches and tap into that stuff I was talking about earlier, Season Club. So seasoned without an E at the end, because we want to help people in different seasons of their life and give them the seasoning to move forward. So Season Club membership for our Season Friends membership open now. And then if you are a creator or you've run a community and you want to level up and get more deals, more partnerships, then we've got Block Media Global. So blockmediaglobal.com, Block Media Global, super simple. And then my personal page, I'm sure will be tagged up at the end of this stuff, but it's Bejay Mulenga. Sometimes Bejay Mulenga MBE, but yeah, that's just me, man. Just out here doing shit, working, just pulling up. I'm going to be a lot more visible in the next year. Shout out Haley Melinda for that one.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we really appreciate having you on. That has been another episode of the PBK podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, like always, make sure you subscribe. If you've got any questions for myself or BJ, let us know in the comments. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Peace.